Your source for all things Texas Tech. This is the Ask Level podcast from Double T 97.3.
Hey, what's happening? Welcome into another episode of the Ask Level podcast. Alongside Chris Level, I'm Chois Woodman. This podcast, as usual, brought to you by our friends at Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
We wish them and all of you a very Merry Christmas, depending when you're listening to this. It's during Christmas week. It's during Bowl week. So we got a lot to cover. I got a couple of Christmas topics for you, Level, but definitely a lot of bowl. And, of course, we've got to talk about transfer portal because it is the hottest topic in Lubbock, Texas over the last couple of weeks. But how are we doing today, Level?
I'm doing all right, man.
Can't speak.
Yes, Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Hope everybody gets a great time with their family, and that's what this time of year is all about. And hopefully, Santa brings you everything that you asked for. Assuming you're not a level 2 naughty lister like our man Woodman is.
Level 2. What's it take to get to level 2?
Yeah, level 2 naughty lister. That's right.
Okay. Takes one to know one.
Hey.
Just
easy.
I just went with the fourth grade response there too.
Okay, all right.
So let's start with the portal before we get to the fun Christmas stuff and bowl stuff. But it seems like Christmas has come early for a lot of Red Raider fans because of what we've seen in the portal, and this it's been crazy because you being Texas Tech has made some tidal waves across college football, and you have gotten a ton of attention and seem to make some bigger schools fan bases mad. And this kind of came out of nowhere, not completely, but at least for the college football outsiders looking into Lubbock, everybody's wondering what the heck's going on in Lubbock, Texas.
Yeah, I think I think they planned to be very aggressive. I think they probably ended up with more players than we all kind of would have thought. I think even Joey kind of hinted at there were some scenarios, maybe a couple of them, in some cases that you're like, because you ended up with four corners.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's maybe the one that you got on a visit that in particular that you were like, "Ah, he's just too good for us to say."
Say no to.
Yeah, and I think that, but in a lot of cases, you were trying to fill needs, and I think Joey's point was, first of all, you've guaranteed yourself nothing for next year, nothing, not a thing.
Sure.
You have addressed needs with what you feel like are really good, polished, experienced players. The challenge will be chemistry and culture and all the things that the intangibles that you can't touch, and it will cause some players on your current roster, some of which you may really like, that will go, man, I don't see a path to playing time for me, or I don't necessarily want to, or hey, let me get out on the open market and find out what I'm worth,
Right.
Kind of deal. And so all of that, but you've I would just as excited as people should be, because I do think you've added like a top recruiting class is what you've essentially done.
Sure.
Your second recruiting class in the span of 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
You signed your high school variety and then you're in your portal variety. You have entered into the conversation as a Big 12 title contender, but now the challenge will be to go figure that out and go do it. And it's a lot harder to do it than it is to sign a good class and this or that. It's executing a plan and
Right.
all, and staying healthy and being lucky and all that stuff. But yeah, it's been a fun week and a half, 2 weeks for Tech fans, because I largely think that you pretty much got who you wanted. And
Okay.
and I'm not saying you landed the top guy at every spot. That's not what happened. But I think with what you needed, with what how it fit, and the cost, and the playing time, the eligibility, or your classification, or whatever, you largely got who you wanted. Half of these guys are it's a 1 year deal. But I guess I'm most excited about the other half being, a 3 year running back, a 3 year left tackle. Three of the four DBs are either have 2 or 3 years left. I'm trying to think of what else. You've got a D tackle that you signed that's got more than 1 year. So anyway, that aspect of things excites me because it's I think you're trying to play ball long term. It's not just hey, we're going to go for it 1 year and then then everything will fall apart after that. I don't think that's the
Right.
hope. You tried to put your best foot forward here, and we'll see because your roster is not. It's far from completed.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we may have a bunch of questions. I don't know about is there any more? Where will it stop? There's an unknown there that I'm not real sure about, but I'm just going to tell you your roster is far from being completed for a variety of different reasons. There may be other portal targets, uh, in the immediate or in the next phase. There may be current guys on your roster that surprise you and go to the portal. There's going to be roster cuts that you have to make when you have to get down to the 105, all the above.
Hmm.
So, but I happen to like on paper anyway a lot of the folks because I mean, dude, you beat out Ohio State for the running back. You
Yeah.
beat out. I mean, you can just go on and on. I mean, you were you frustrated a lot of fan bases because you went shopping at Neiman's and other folks were for whatever reason, they were not shopping in the same store. So
Yeah.
that's we'll see. But yeah, been a crazy couple weeks. Sorry for the ramble there, but there's a
No,
lot there, man. There's a
there's so
lot
much.
there.
And there's so much that I mean we won't even be able to get to, but let's go ahead and get it to a couple of portal questions while they're there. Mark says on three sports has is reporting the average NIL deal for tech portal transfers is over $2 million. I hadn't seen that. Are the NIL deals insured by
Hey,
this?
the average deal per player,
Yeah, I don't think that's
that's
okay. I
horribly
hadn't seen
inaccurate.
anything like that.
Yeah, that's
Anyway,
not true.
going on to his question part, it says with the amount of or is there any insurance that happens if students get injured with this case or with their portal money, sorry, NIL money, or to keep everything straight? And do these students go through financial counseling now that they have all this money floating around? So, insurance and financial counseling, does that happen?
Well, the financial counseling has happened really for the last 2 to 3 years campus wide,
Yeah.
and by multiple people, accounting, financial investment advice,
Hmm.
tax advice, all that stuff. I think Texas Tech has done a really, and I think most schools operate this way.
Sure.
They bring in people from the community or whatever that try to educate and try to explain. Uncle Sam gets his piece. If you want to be smart with what is going on here, listen to what we're about to tell you, all that kind of stuff, financial literacy, however you want to, yeah. So all that has gone on and is going on. There's no doubt. As far as insurance with injury, I don't. I think these are all player contracts, and in some cases, you've already kind of gotten into the rev sharing portion of the
Hmm.
agreements with these guys that you've brought in for next year. And I look, if guys are going to get hurt, that's just part of it. And I don't know how a lot of that will work. I think that the questions to ask, because I have the same question, I guess. So I'm not prepared to necessarily answer that. Although I do think that if it's a legitimate injury and all those things, I think that the player still it's just part of the deal. Kind of the gamble that you took. I think there may be some things in there about playing in postseason.
Yeah.
I think there may be some things. This is going to be a bit different, and I don't know if we have a full grasp of it yet. Because first of all, it's not really implemented yet, but I think that everybody is planning on that it will be. So, yeah, I mean, great topic because yeah, I'm curious as well, and that's I think you could look at like the Devin Cambridge example. I don't know how his NIL agreement worked with like how, and then he's just not on the team anymore and he's going to try to redshirt. I mean, what does that look like? I
Yeah,
don't know, but I was asked by a variety of people about that. And,
sure.
like even a year ago, like when he got hurt the whole year, I mean, how exactly are we playing that? So anyway, there you go.
Yeah. Okay, another question for you, Level. This one comes from Jake. It says, I know money is the main factor, but how much does Joey's recruiting ability and Texas Tech's facilities factor in, or is it 100% money related on getting all of these new recruits?
Okay, that's the first part of the question again.
Says, I know it's money is the main factor, but how
Well,
much does Coach McGuire's recruiting ability and Texas
it's all
Tech's
the above.
facilities? Okay,
Yeah, I think it's all the above. There's a financial component to this as well. There's no doubt, but I think it does come down to just because I'm willing to offer you more doesn't mean that I'm gonna get you. It has to be scheme. It has to be fit. It has to be, do I like it here? Do I want to live there? Do I want to post
yeah,
up in this facility for the next 9 to 10 months? Or longer in some of these
yep,
guys' cases.
yep,
There's a variety of things that there is absolutely, and there's an evaluation component to it too. What I think is the most impressive thing about what they were able to do is that they had a plan, and we'll never know the ebbs and flows or the twists and turns that may have been going on behind the scenes. But when you have somebody on campus, because there's plenty of other people that visited in the
hmm
midst of this that weren't signed,
yeah,
and is it here's what we're prepared to offer you, or hey man, we just wanted to bring you in, we're kind of looking at some other folks. I mean, how are you playing that game? Because theoretically you can shop too long and then end up left with nothing, and if you
sure,
let people go on other visits. So I think that the part about the plan where they were able to get who they wanted and not have to, I don't know, settle or be left scrambling or whatever is because I think they hit it hard, they hit it early,
hmm
they were prepared. The Matador Club did its part. I think Coach Blanchard and the personal staff, and it's worth mentioning the analytic because there was people that were jumping in the portal in the process of you still looking and all this going on.
yeah,
So there's some, and you had 3 or 4 different times where guys were coming in and then leaving, and then more guys were coming in. I mean, Joey said recently, I think there was like 2 week stretch where there was a recruit on campus for 2 straight weeks. So there's just no time to chill,
yep,
and all the while you're trying to get ready for a bowl game. But I think that their analytics, their philosophy allowed them to make decisions quickly on, is this a yes or is this a no? Or why do we want this guy? What's this
right,
guy worth? How does he fit? And you get them here and want to make sure they're not a knucklehead or they're going to fit in your locker room.
sure,
And you
sure,
hope that they selected correctly there, that you picked guys that one love football and that are willing to be about the team and not just themselves. I mean, there's a lot here. So that'll be something we can talk about for the next 8 to 9 months. But yeah, I think it wasn't just money, but that's certainly a factor. Yes.
okay. And this will change depending on like who continues to come in, but the Bob from Twitter asks, do you have a favorite portal pickup level that you think makes the biggest contribution to the team next season?
Well, this is going to be a popular question, and you could kind of. I mean, most of them are favorites
It's a
because there's
lot,
not
yeah.
really anybody that you don't like based on their pedigree or how they graded out or their measurables or whatever. I would answer that question in one of two ways, and I'll give you a kind of a one and a 1A type answer. I would tell you that the trench part of this is was my favorite. You added seven total linemen, three on offense, four on defense. If we count Romello Height as a lineman as an edge guy,
Sure.
so I'll consider him a defensive lineman.
Pass rusher. Yeah.
But I would say that's my favorite part because you could have done that
Hmm.
and largely been like, okay, I think we're good or whatever, and I would have been like, I still would have been pretty excited because that's what
Yeah.
this is all about, man.
Yeah.
It's a trenches game, and you weren't quite good enough there this year, and yet you still won 8 and maybe 9 games. If you want me to single guys out on that, I love the Lee Hunter
Same here.
addition,
Yep.
but I think the Anthony Holmes and the Skylar Gill Howard ones are just like awesome too.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love that about Holmes because he's got more than 1 year to play, and
Hmm.
he's got familiarity with Coach Wood. The offensive line, it's like Hunter Zambrano is going to be forgotten about.
Hmm.
He was one of the most polished, draft graded NFL linemen in the portal, and you got him early, so everybody's already kind of moved on from him. But I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you I didn't love Howard Sampson, and it's because he's enormous, but he's also got 3 years to give you.
Right.
And I just think that
Love
part
that.
to me is and he was around Eric Morris's program, so there's some connection there. He's originally from Texas, so
Yep.
and,
Yep.
and he's TJ West's high school teammate, a young receiver on your team. So there's those guys. Now that was part one. The second thing is I just have a sneaking suspicion that like a Cole Wisniewski is going to be a really good player for you. A
Yeah.
really good player for you.
Yep.
He's got measurables. I mean, sitting up there and watching his coach a week ago that's they're still in the playoffs, North Dakota
Yeah.
State. He's sucking down Mountain Dew and he is pissed that Wisniewski is left for the portal and is not going to be trying to get back for the and but this kid's married. I don't know. He's one that I think people kind of sleep on, and
Yeah.
understandably so because of what others you've added. But I just have a feeling he's a ball magnet, man. He just is always around the football, and he's very smart. And so I don't know. I kind of like that one. Maybe is a sneaky favorite there.
So you were asked for one, and you gave us about 13 guys because that's how good of a class it is. No, it is amazing to see where what's been going on that
Yeah, because you
front.
you could, I mean, for different reasons. That's what I'm saying. Like I think the receiver was extremely difficult to get.
Yeah. Yep.
Reggie Virgil. I think the running back was
Miami.
extremely difficult to
Yeah.
get, and he's got 3 years to play, and he's got connections to Tech. He played with Jaden Cofield in high school. Taj Brooks like tried to get him here, but there's all that
Yeah,
going
they're
on.
from
So
Maine. Yeah.
yeah, you could just yeah, you could look around and try to figure out you talk yourself into a variety of all these guys, but it's crazy because the only position on your entire football team that will remain untouched via what you brought in here is the linebacker position.
Yep.
It's also the one position on your team where you didn't lose anybody, thank goodness, because Jacob Rodriguez is coming back. But that's the only position, and I would say to you, trying to think of how to phrase this question. You could almost ask aloud while we came into last year, and I would have told you, and I think I did, that linebacker was maybe your strongest position,
Yeah.
the one you had the fewest questions. I'm not so sure now that on paper that one may not be, I don't want to say weakest, but the one you maybe have most questions about.
Least strong. Yeah.
And it's because Bryce Ramirez is kind of dinged up. Justin Horn is going to miss the spring.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Ben Roberts would tell you he didn't have as good of a season as he would have thought. I think Jacob Rodriguez would tell you he didn't have as good of a year in the first half as he thought he would. It was really
Sure.
good in the second half.
Yep.
But Dingle is continuing to progress. John Curry is very solid and is on the way up and all that. But it's just funny how that may work. And I may be wrong. I'm just kind of talking it out here. But anyway, interesting to kind of to look at it that way because I think that you could have a conversation there.
So a lot. I mean, we could sit and talk about the future of Texas Tech and all this for an hour easily, but the near future of Texas Tech holds a bowl game against the Arkansas Razorbacks, and this is largely a game that, and this is going to be this way in bowl season, you know, moving forward. It seems it's a game that's hard to preview level because you don't know exactly who's playing. We know Arkansas has their quarterback. We know there's 25-ish guys in the portal for the Razorbacks, but Texas Tech has guys in the portal that will play in this football game, like Jake Strong and I think Jordan Brown's expected to play, and several of those other guys that will probably play. We don't know what that looks like for Arkansas on the number of guys that will play for them. So good luck, but I'm tossing it up to you. Give us your thoughts on the Razorbacks and what we should expect coming up this week.
I mean, they'll be solid. I'm like you. I think they've been hit about as hard as anybody in the country with portal
Hmm.
additions. I mean, they've had a rush at the immediate opening of the portal. They even had one of their backup running backs, Braylon Russell, I think is his name, who was reported to get into the portal. Then he comes out and is like, "Man, I'm not doing that," because the starter for running back, he's declared for the draft and he's not going to play in this game, is my understanding. And then this Russell kid who is kind of like their version of what Jacoby Williams would be to you. I think a lot of people are like, "Oh gosh, I do not want to lose this. He's the future."
Yeah,
And he got into rumored to get into the portal, then said, "No, I'm not doing that." And then he, in fact, did get into the portal like a week later.
yeah,
So that I really don't know what you're going to get. Here's what I do know though. Taylon Green is going to play for these guys. He's about 6'6", 225, 230. He is going to be a long, lanky quarterback that's going to run it a lot. I don't think he necessarily. I think you want to be able to be prepared to play a lot of QB run game, and I think you want to make him beat you with his arm, and because he's going to be missing, he's missing a starting tight end and both starting wideouts, is what I
yeah.
believe is the case, and some offensive linemen up front. So. Even Sam Pittman said, "I feel a lot better about our defense coming into this game than I do our offense." So there'll be a lot put on Taylon Green, backup tight end, maybe some backup receivers, backup offensive linemen, potentially third string running back. I'm not real sure. And Arkansas recruits at a pretty high level, so you're going to be seeing, while you love Will Hammond and Jacoby Williams and Jacob Ponton, well, they're going to trot their versions of those guys out there, and you
Sure.
just don't know what all that looks like. But I would just say QB run game is the biggest thing. If you control that, then I like your chances. But what you have to understand in these bowl games is that everybody just says screw it.
Yeah.
You fake it, you run the trick play,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
there's no chart that follows a bowl game when this is it is meaningful and it'll be meaningful to people playing and watching and all that stuff, but it's you're not, this is the end of the season one way or the other, and so you take some different chances, you run some different gadgets and all these different things, you show some different stuff, and you've had more time to work on it, as you lead up to this game with the 15 practices all getting ready for one game. So you don't really know what you'll see, and I would just throw out this caveat. 2 years ago, I think Arkansas went to the Liberty Bowl and they played Kansas, and it
That's
was one of
right.
the
Yep.
wildest bowl games
It was.
of that year. And I think they were hammering Kansas way at a big
Hmm.
lead.
Yep.
Kansas comes all the way back. They ended up going to two or three overtimes, and I think Arkansas held on 55-53
Yeah.
in Memphis at the Liberty Bowl, and they were missing, I think, eight or nine starters in that game as well. I
Hmm.
don't know how much depth they were also missing, but so anyway, I just would you just don't know, and this is where you have to trust Joey and his ability to get his guys excited and all that. And again, you say you kind of have a feel for some guys playing in the game. We're going to go off of kind of what we've heard
Yeah.
and what Joey said
What he
recently.
said recently. Yep.
But come Friday night, you don't really know. who's sick, who made the trip, who got dinged up, whose agent got a hold of him and said, "Dude, don't play in this game."
Sure,
I
sure.
mean,
Yeah,
so
there's that.
there will be a lot of that there potentially, but I do know Will Hammond will play, and for that reason alone, I'm pumped to watch it.
Same
I
here.
do know he will hand the ball uh, potentially to Taj Brooks, although I'm going to doubt that. But Jacoby Williams will be involved, and so there's and like Conyers is going to be heavily involved as well, and I don't
Yeah.
that part is fun for me because I'll be excited about the team that you'll trot out there, although it will not be the same version of the team really in any way that you have gone to war with all year.
Especially on the offensive side. So you mentioned what Sam Pittman says there, that they feel better about their defense than their offense. Tech, when you're talking about replacements, most of them are on the offensive side of the ball for this bowl game. Does Tech have the same feeling, or do you think Tech has a lot of confidence still in the offense, even with some different faces?
And again, you've got two new play callers in
Yeah,
this game,
this
and
is totally different.
I don't think that can be overstated.
Yeah,
What does that look like? I mean, are they able to adjust? Do they have answers? Do they?
yeah,
What I would say to you is, I bet you will turn Will Hammond loose, and this is more of a let's let this kid eat, let's let him throw it a lot, and then I think you'll see him use his legs
yeah,
a lot, even some QB run game. I think, and Joey kind of hinted at this as well, but I think you'll see Jalen Conyers at QB,
yep,
which we've seen some of this year, whether it's zone read or whether he throws it. Again, we've seen both of these things this year as well. And I think they will try to reward that young man because
sure,
if there's anything I could wish, my Christmas wish would be that most or all of these 16 portal guys that you just added jump in and love this place
yeah,
and
yeah,
it'll love them back like Conyers.
yeah.
Um, because I just think he's somebody that I've said to myself repeatedly, like, God, I hate that this is it. You're
I
just like, feel
wish
like you
you
just
had
got
more than a
here.
year with him. Yeah,
Yes,
I'm the
yes.
same way. Like
So, and then defensively, who's calling plays for your defense?
CJIU.
Right.
Yeah,
He coaches what?
outside linebackers, your
Right.
pass rushers. Yeah.
And does he seem pretty intense?
As intense as it gets. Yeah.
Okay.
I
It was a
standing
rhetorical
next to
question.
that guy isn't it's intimidating.
So what I would say to you is I would expect them to be extremely aggressive.
Okay. Love it.
I think they will play to his personality.
Okay.
I don't think it will be confusing or tricked up. I think they will be very aggressive and then let the chips fall. And we'll kind of see what and that that can be good, it can be bad. You don't really know. But yeah, these bowl games are. It's probably pretty stressful being in the middle of it, and it can be
Yeah.
stressful for people like you that are trying to broadcast it. And like you obviously we want the Red Raiders to win it and everything, but wildly entertaining because you just aren't sure what you're going to get.
And I think bowl games largely have always been difficult to predict, and especially in the last 20 years of who wants to be there, who doesn't, those sorts of things. And Vegas numbers reflect this too. Vegas's most inaccurate thing in sports is bowl games on their predictions and their lines they set, and that they are very accurate when it comes to making money. Bowl games are where they get it wrong the most. And I think it's even more difficult today than it ever has been because of the defections and the who's playing, who's not, and the coaching changes that happen earlier and earlier now. So everything involved makes these things hard to predict, but I think it makes it, like you're talking about, more fun to watch because you don't know what's going to happen. When you watch something where you know it's going to happen, it's not quite as fun. So yeah, we've got Liberty Bowl coming up this week, and I'm with you. I think Will Hammond is probably if I'm listing reasons to turn the game on, not that I need him for the double T on the helmet. Will Hammond might be at the top of that list just to watch the kid cut it loose. But let's finish out with some. Well, there's one more question I forgot to get to from Leah. Leah asks, I know Barron has had surgery. Are there any other players that are going to need surgery this offseason?
Oh yeah, or have already had it. I mean, I think, you've got you still have people like Dylan Spencer and Adata Ray, rehabbing.
Hmm.
I think, Justin Horn, Duda Banks, and there's probably plenty that we don't
Sure.
know about. Those just happen to be more of in our face. Those were game-like injuries, but there's so many of these kids that play through stuff, or hey man, I can get through the season. We'll get it addressed and fixed after the season's over. So I mean, yeah, your spring will look fascinating because you'll be missing a lot of your, including Barron, your current guys, but then you're going to have this influx of about close to 25 of portal and your freshman early enrollees that jump into this deal. And so yeah, the whole thing will be kind of interesting. And some guys are going to be competing in the spring to stay on the team.
Very true. Yeah, you got the roster
Um,
cuts down to 105, so
mhm.
that's yeah, there's a lot going on. Okay, let's finish with some Christmas stuff. Level, the people need to know. Top three Christmas movies that you can't go without watching during the holiday season.
By the way, I've seen Red One recently. I would highly recommend it for those who are out
Okay.
there. It's on Amazon Prime now. I think I saw in the last few days, depending on when people are watching or consuming this, that 50 million people have viewed this on Amazon Prime worldwide. It's a great movie. It's kind of like a
Yeah.
Christmas movie and a superhero movie kind of meshed into one. It's got a great story. It's well written and well
Little
acted, in my
little comedy
opinion.
in there.
Yeah, oh yeah, I got a big kick out of it. I thought it was great.
Okay.
I will, and it's one that I think will last. It will stand the test of time for a while. I don't know if it'll end up on TV like Home Alone and Elf and all those are, which I
Okay.
feel like are almost over played. But number one
Probably.
Christmas movie that I must watch, although you can watch it all the year round, but Die Hard. I knew you'd appreciate
Solid.
that. And I'd
Solid.
probably say, uh, you know, like you've got Christmas Vacation, you got Home Alone, Home Alone 2, and then Elf are kind of in
Yeah.
that same genre. I don't know if I could pick, and then Die Hard. I always get a kick out of that because Nakatomi Plaza and everything, and it's around Christmas time and all that. That's always the argument, but I probably didn't. Yeah, it's a Butte Clark. Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Christmas
Christmas
vacation,
Vacation,
man.
and then
All
and
day.
then I won't get to be a part of it this year, but typically when I go to my in-laws on Christmas Day, that's the first thing that's just on TV is a Christmas story. You'll shoot your eye out, kid. I mean, so anyway, that's kind of I didn't narrow it to three. My apologies. I probably went what, six or seven there, and then gave you a new one to
Yeah.
watch. But yeah, sorry, shoot me.
Shoot your eye. Yeah.
Just yeah, just not with the Red Ryder BB gun. Yeah, please.
Not that.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
No, Christmas is great and the Christmas movies. You got a favorite Christmas food? Like y'all got tradition where you
Well,
eat?
I tell you what doesn't belong on a Christmas holiday plate. I feel very strongly about this. If you're out there and you just feel the need to even serve it, I just think you've been caught up in the hype for whatever reason. But cranberry or cranberry sauce
Okay.
doesn't belong. It just doesn't. Like, stop forcing it. It just the stuff right out of the can, or then the more traditional with the actual berries in there and the jelly and everything. It just gets all over everything, and it's really strong. It
So
doesn't
you're not
belong.
okay with it at Thanksgiving either?
No, I'm not. It
Oh
just is.
man.
But we're talking Christmas here.
We are talking
And the other
Christmas.
thing is, in your what does belong in the cuisine as it relates to Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, you decide when it fits best with you and your family. And again, we're some Texas boys here, but I just feel like there's a place for the tamale that belongs with the holiday cuisine. It's a
Oh
bit
yeah.
outside the box a little bit, but that's
Hey.
kind of a Christmas Eve thing with our family and taco soup and tamales, but
Oh yeah.
it's now become part of the yeah, it's a must. So, anyways, that's what I would offer up there. And then when you go for dessert, I just request always a sampler platter or a sampler plate.
Word. Yep.
So a little sliver of whatever you're offering, as long as it doesn't have coconut on it. Because if there's somebody trying to tell me how good their coconut cream pie is. Yeah,
Oh,
save it. I'm not going to be a part of it. and then anything with meringue on it, I also won't take part in that as well. So
You
anyway,
had it all the way till the end, but meringue is heavenly level. Come on.
yeah,
That
yeah.
calf slobber. It's the good stuff. All right, Level. Well, I hope you and your family get to have a great Christmas. I will see you, and if you're listening to this, I'll see you at the bowl game up in Memphis, Tennessee, and we'll see half a stadium there and have some fun with it.
Yep, walking on Beale with our 10 feet or with our feet 10 feet above the ground or whatever the song,
There
however
we
the song
go.
says, with our blue suede shoes on and all that
Well,
stuff. Yeah, no, looking forward to it. Fun time of year. Be safe out there. Guns up. Fun year coming up next year. Fun season, I should say. We still got hoops rolling and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, appreciate you, Woodman. Thank you to the folks at Cantex Roofing. Again, Merry Christmas to everybody out there. And yeah, guns up. And we'll talk to everybody next time. And it may be
yeah,
2025, or maybe it'll be right before the first of the year. I guess we
yeah,
can push through there. So
yeah.
yeah, there you go.
We'll have some conference basketball on the way too.
Sure,
So
and recapping hopefully a bowl victory and a ninth win of the season and four straight bowl victories and all that kind of stuff. What do
sounds
you
beautiful.
say? Yeah, I'm
I'm
free if
in.
you are. Yeah, there you
Okay,
go.
let's
All
do
right.
it. That's Chris Level. I'm Choice Woodman. Y'all have a very Merry Christmas and may God bless you and your family. And we appreciate you tuning in all year long to the Ask Level podcast brought to you by Double T 97.3.
You've been listening to the Ask Level podcast, powered by Double T 97.3.